The LeBron James I Promise School in Akron, Ohio is not doing well. The news out of the school is that the students that are taking the math tests are failing. In fact, they haven't had a passing math test in that school since the 3rd grade. Let that sink in for a second. This is what they're dealing with in Akron. So, this is daunting news for anybody who's in support of these children, who want this program to succeed. The LeBron James Foundation, what are they doing? Why are they involved in the schools? What have they done? Why aren't they doing more? Let's answer these questions. The LeBron James School, what did they do? Well, first of all, they donated $2 million to the school. $2 million in resources to provide wraparound services for the school, for the students, so that they can do better in the schools. What's the mission? Why did they do it? They did it the mission is to enable students to do better in school, to help disadvantaged children who are at the risk of falling through cracks or are falling through cracks, to provide them with a proper education so they can be successful in life. The Akron school officials themselves are concerned about the testing. In fact, someone quoted as saying, with all the resources that we provide, we expected more to be done at the schools. We expected better performance of our students in math, in these test scores. But I wanted to be clear that what's happened at the Akron school is not that much different than what happens at other schools with disadvantaged children, children from meager means, children coming from these types of disadvantaged situations. I went out and said, what are the top 5 reasons why poor children have such obstacles in school? And this is what it came back with. Number 1 is lack of resources. They don't have computers, internet access, tablets, a quiet place to study. All these things are considered resources that help children do well. If you want children to perform well in school, all you got to do is look at a performing well school and then look at an unperforming school and say, okay, let's take everything the performing school has and give that to the poor kids. But no one wants to do that. Number 2, educational inequality. If you look at kids from great schools that perform well, they have some notable things, differences in what? Class size, number of teachers, the educational level of teachers, the performance level of teachers. All these things combine to give you a better school, a better performing school. It's not magic. It's not will. It's measurable. If you provide those things to the poor schools will do better. Number 3, socioeconomic stressors. Things like food insecurity. Not sure if you're going to live indoors tomorrow. Shelter, stability. These things all impact a child's stress level so they can do what? Concentrate on actually learning. Kids from well-to-do schools that perform well, they don't have to worry about where the next meal is coming from. Nor do they worry about if mom and dad are going to get out of rehab, or if they're going to be able to, if dad's going to come home from jail, or if mom's going to come home from jail, if their brother got shot. These are not problems that they have. Number 4, health issues. A lack of access to health, quality health, undiagnosed or diagnosed health problems for poor children hold them down, hold them back. It's harder to perform at school if you're sick, and if your sickness goes untreated. And number 5, limited educational support at home. I know the conservatives are loving this part. Notice it's number 5. If you don't have parents at home, if your parents are inebriated, drunk, high, abusive, emotionally or physically abusive, depressed, over-medicated, no medication. We're talking about parents who have enough education themselves to value education for one, but also to assist their children with their education, to study with them. Then we're leaving out some of the other things that children from well-to-do schools that do well, that perform well, such as tutors. A lot of children get tutored. Okay? Poor kids that are barely making ends meet, whose parents are barely making ends meet, may not have the access to the same amount of resources. I'm not saying all this to take away from LeBron James and the requirements and the commitment that they must have to these children. It's not just about photo ops and good press. It's about giving back. But see, I don't think LeBron James did this for a photo op. I know the conservatives want to get a gotcha moment. Some of them seem giddy that LeBron James School is not doing well in math. You know what? You know what else? And I reached out to LeBron James Foundation because I wanted some more information because you know what I didn't notice? I didn't notice school shootings at the LeBron James I Promise School. I didn't notice there were children who were fighting. I don't see them on the news. I think if there was anything negative coming out of that school, it would get publicity. TMZ would be camped out at the school. If there were fights, if there were gangs, if there was a host of other issues at this school that we see in some other disadvantaged schools, and I'm not seeing it. What we see is we see children that aren't doing well in math. Guess what? I didn't hear anybody say anything about reading. I didn't hear anything about science, social studies. There are other school core principles and lessons that I'm not hearing a problem with. But of course, we're going to focus on the negative. We're going to focus on what's not working. Be that as it may, right now, LeBron James and his foundation, according to reports, are building home units. Housing for the parents. Because, yes, there are some certain challenges. Once again, the stressors. If parents don't have a stable place to live, how well can you expect children to do? If anything, the LeBron James I Promise School is lucky because these children would face these same struggles. They'd be going to various schools, right? Various schools, all spread out, and be lost in the cracks in those schools. At least here at the LeBron James School, they're in one place. They may have similar issues, and we can deal with those similar issues together. I'm not saying it's a perfect science, and I'm not saying there's no culpability. I'm not saying the LeBron James Foundation's off the hook. I'm saying they're on the hook. Now let's get it done. Stop jumping up and down about what you think is a failure for LeBron James. No, dummy, it's a failure for us as a country when our children don't do well. I know you want to make it all about the children don't pray and the dads don't stay. How about it also be about the top 5 reasons I pointed out to you in this video? I'm Tim Black. Catch us live streaming on Sundays at 7 p.m. with myself and the great Mrs. Black, and we'll be here to unpack situations and news for you. And as always, remember, don't let nobody take your cornbread. We're the Wolf Pack.
Extra innings are bonus segments from Tim Black's Black Table Show with the Blacks. That's Tim Black and the amazing Mrs. Black. For early access to extra innings, become a paid member of the Tim Black Show at jointimblack.com. Ain't nothing like the real thing. Baby, join today. See you there, Wolfpack.